Well, so this is the front. This is the front, and I had a look at the video of the repotting of last year, and well, I left a whole lot of roots, which is good if you can afford to leave a whole lot of roots. But I must say this pot was really too big. It's still too big, and the tree grew, well, rather well, but I can't stand it in this pot. It's too big. It's really horrible. So I had in mind to use another pot, and I found one that was quite suitable. It's this pot. I'm not too wild about these edges. I would prefer something a little softer, or maybe really oval would be much better. But well, that's all I have for the time being, so that's what I'm going to use. And well, you see, it's quite a lot smaller, but the depth is, well, not that different, and I think this is going to be well, an enormous change in view. Because now this tree looks really thin in this gigantic pot, and yeah. So I'm not going to do a complete repot with all the substrate removed, but just transpot, is that a word that I can use? No? Well, anyway, I'm using it. I'm going to get the tree out. First of all, remove the moss, and then try to fit it in the new pot. So this might be tricky. It's going rather well. Okay, I'm going to put the tree on the ground. So it's obvious that the tree didn't use all the soil. It's absolutely not pot bound, so there's absolutely no need to do a whole lot of root cutting, maybe just to fit it in the new pot, but yeah, we'll see about that. So this is going to be the new front. Here I'm going to try to put a little piece of wood here so that I mark it, and I'm going to remove most of the moss. Looks nice, the moss. And then I'm going to gently, very gently, remove little bits of soil just to fit it in this pot. I'm going to put it quite in the center. So up to here and up to there. Yeah, so let's start with that. So I'm now slowly removing the substrate from the sides, and you see I'm trying to make a straight side here just to fit the new pot, and I'm trying not to move too much of the other soil, so that this repot is really a minor repot. But I want this tree to be in the good direction, the pot. So I'm going to try to work my rectangular shape, and that's it. So I think that I removed just enough to get the tree in the new pot. And so this is the front, and yeah, maybe just this little corner here, but I think this is going to be okay. So I'm going to get the table a little cleaner, and then I will have to cut the roots and stuff like that and put it in the new pot. So let's do that. So obviously, well, this tree grew well, and this gives me the opportunity to cut back some of the thicker roots without disturbing the roots that are inside the root ball, which is an interesting repot for the tree. It's been very cold lately, and see, some of the parts here of the root ball are still a little frozen. But spring is in the air, and this weekend it's amazing. We had -10 degrees last week, and next weekend we can have up to 18 degrees Celsius. Can you imagine the difference? It's 28 degrees difference. That's quite a lot. So yeah, so you see, I now uncovered some of these roots, and probably when I put it in the new pot, I'm going to try to lift these roots a little so that they become more visible. Because every time that I do a repot, I am burying the roots a little too deep, because, well, I don't want them to die off or to dry out. So okay, maybe I can lift some of these. Okay, so this is all the roots that I removed. So that's not a whole lot, but you see, it's, well. So the spot has a little default here, and so I'm going to take that one as the front. That's one thing. And then I said that I had to tilt the tree a little bit like this. So I'm going to have to compensate by putting a little bit of soil in this place. So let's do that. So a little substrate, maybe 1 centimeter. Not going to use much more than that. Okay, so let's try it and see how it looks. That's maybe a little too much, but I don't know, we'll see. I'm going to have a look at this. Well, so the front was supposed to be here, so maybe I'm going to move it just a little bit. So I have a good root here, which is interesting. Well, I don't need this anymore for the root spread here. And then this comes at, it's almost the same height, so that looks nice. Okay, so that's, I think the position is good. Well, I'm going to get rid of that, like so. I'm going to remove some of the remaining moss here, which is entangled in the roots. If it falls in this hole, it's of course not a problem. So I'm going to clean up the surface, and all the debris can get into the holes. And I'm going to show as much as possible of these really nice root spread that I have. Rearrange some of these roots, of course. I think this is starting to look quite nice. I like, of course, a good root spread, but not too straight and not too balanced, you know. There's a point where it becomes artificial, and well, you don't want crossing roots. Well, not too much. A little bit is fine, I think. Not too much. And I was thinking of a way of keeping all the roots that I want to keep in a good spot, and I might have an idea. So, 1 second. Okay, so these are the roots that I really like. Look at this. This is very nice. And yes, there are three coming from one spot. So what? That's nature. It should look a little wild, you know. So, yeah, toothpicks. So, these are, well, almost where I want them. Not completely, but now they are. You see? Lots of toothpicks. It's gonna be, it's gonna look completely ridiculous the first weeks, but then, of course, when the soil settles, you just get them out. This root could come here, like so. Okay, and this one here. So that's something you can do when you do not get all the roots off, because if you get it all off, all the soil off, I mean, because if you get it all off, well, there's nothing to stick your toothpick in. Yeah, so maybe one here. Maybe push it down like this. Okay, so that's better. Oh, this works rather nice. So I'm going to do the. Yeah, I noticed I had two stones here that were buried here to keep the roots in place last year, but of course I should remove these now, and they've been here for a whole year, but they did the job. Of course, now I have this good spread here, but I want this root to come out a little more, maybe. Yeah, so it's going to be just rearranging these roots, getting them a little more visible, plucking some moss off, putting some substrate under the roots, filling up some holes, and I feel that this year the root spread will be a whole lot more interesting. Well, it was interesting, but it was buried, so when it's buried you don't see it. Okay, so this is a good root. I want to see it. So I need to put some substrate under that. Well, I guess you get the point. So I'm going to do this for all these roots, getting some stuff under it so that I can see them. Okay, so I'm really uncovering a whole lot of great roots here. I wanted to show you that. So yeah, if you are crossing, starting on top, which is not a surprise if you bury your roots every time, well, you're gonna have roots on top. So I removed that one, but these are really minor operations. This one, I should do something about that, but I'm not going to remove it. Just going to try to put a toothpick in it here. So if I can stick it here, it's going to be in a good spot. Okay. So I don't need to lose that root. I just need to reposition it. So I'm working in the soil while I'm doing this. This again is a great root. I'm not sure if it's gonna live because it has no little roots here. Well, it's not, maybe not such a good root. There's a better one just under it. So I'm going to remove that one. Okay, so yeah, I have a better one here. So this is still the front, and this should come a little more out of the ground. So let's take some substrate and put it under it again. Well, for a root base, this is already quite some refinement, I must say. So, yeah, I think that's really very good. Of course, when you saw the top on the previous video in the first part, there's a long way to go. But the top part is something where you can always work on the whole season, and the roots, yeah, you have to work on the roots when you see them. I have a root starting from here, but where is it going? Where is it going? It's here, but still can't see it. Ah, it's here. Okay, so again, some stuff under it. So it's now completely covered in soil again, and the pot is all dirty and stuff. But now I'm going to slightly brush away all the excess soil until I can see a good root spread. Just going round and round the tree. So it's starting to become obvious that we have some good roots here. I don't see them here, which means that maybe I could, well, maybe there are no roots here, but oh yeah, just have to dig a little deeper here. Yeah. Maybe I can lift this one a little more. Can I? Yeah, slightly. I'm really happy. I feel that I'm making good progress here. Well, I've been pushing the soil down for the last half hour now, but okay, it's a nice root. Toothpicks, of course, are not helping, but they're doing something useful. Maybe here, is there a big root here? yeah, feel something. Yeah, whoa, that's a deep one. Oh well, there's something here. So again, that's one that I want to show. Okay. So almost there, just now revealing the best roots and scraping the excess soil away. Okay, so I'm done. I'm going to give you a quick 360 of the root base, so starting from the front. Well, of course, when the surface gets a little drier, it will be even better visible, but that's where I am now for a root base. Some moss can still be removed here. You see, these are roots that are now visible. And of course, because they're quite well positioned, they will only get thicker and not thick and ugly. I'm now going to apply some moss on the tree. Of course, mossing a tree is not necessary. If you don't like moss, you don't do that. But I like to do it in some spots, just to, well, give it some color, you know. I think that's nice, and I had all this nice moss that I removed. So I'm just going to do some little bits and pieces here and there. Now, of course, these toothpicks are not helping, but, well, there's a toothpick here, so, well, maybe just like here, maybe a little one in the back. No, it just gives some color. It adds a, I think it's a nice touch. That's a beautiful little piece of moss. And maybe something here. Something... let me see. This is not too big, not too small. So something like that. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to clean up the pot a little now, and maybe we can conclude this video then. So this concludes the work on this field maple, and well, I must say I'm quite happy with it. Maybe some of these wires still can be removed if I do not need them. I'm quite pleased with it. I think the pot is really not that bad. I would have preferred an oval one, like I said before, but I think that the tree looks more powerful in this pot because the pot is smaller. Of course, there is still a long way to go. The top does not represent a whole lot at this moment, but of course, well, it starts to grow in a couple of weeks, I hope. It's going to be something that's, well, will fill up nicely and then cut back and let grow and cut back and let grow, and in a couple of years this might become something. So this is what we have now. I like the side back branch. This is promising also for the future as a back branch. And well, that's it. So thank you for watching and see you next time.